I always end up talking over that announcement that it's recording. So we're happy to have you here today. We hope that arrival went well for you and your student, and we are excited for you to join us for our webinar and information session. We've got an opportunity for you to hear from an expert panel. So what are we going to do for our next hour together? The welcome. It's happening now. You're going to get to hear from our Dean of Students in just a moment to hear about our philosophy in student affairs, a little bit about what your student can expect and what you can expect as their parent or family, a little bit about our vision and values in student affairs. Then we're going to do a fun activity that you can use that Q&A to respond directly to Dean Neighbors. And then we have our Q&A with a panel of experts. You can get all of your questions answered. I will introduce those experts and you'll be able to hear directly from them until 1 o'clock when our webinar ends. So be thinking of your questions. If you want to put them in the Q&A at any point, we'll save them for when we get to that point. But now it is my pleasure to welcome to the virtual stage Dean Marlon Neighbors. With over 20 years of experience in higher education, Dean Neighbors brings to Pitt an expertise in student affairs leadership and a deep commitment to fostering inclusive and supportive campus environments. He has held a wide range of roles throughout his career in student affairs and has provided oversight to the full spectrum of traditional student services. A proud alumnus of Central Michigan University and a first-generation college graduate, Marlon earned a Bachelor of Science in Journalism and Sociology. He later earned a master's degree from Syracuse University in Cultural Foundations of Education, furthering his commitment to educational opportunities for all students. In his free time, which probably don't have right now at the start of the semester, but he enjoys playing board games and spending time with his corgi Mia. Welcome, Dean Neighbors.
Thanks, Summer. Appreciate the opportunity to welcome new families and to be in space to represent some of the great work that we're doing in student affairs here at Pitt. I think it might be helpful if I can tell you a little bit about sort of what a Dean of Students does. You can move that slide anytime you want, Summer. Thanks. There's no reason for anybody to have their face that big on a screen. What I can tell you about the role of a Dean of Students is that, if you think about a student's career as a college student in two lanes, there's the lane that is everything in their academic life, their research, their courses, and then there's things that are outside of their academic life. And that is typically the work that falls under a student affairs area. So everything that is outside the classroom in terms of their leadership experiences, where they live, what things they get involved in, how they begin to mature and grow as a human in order to be their best selves for their career and for the world that ultimately they'll lead upon graduation. I became a Dean of Students and began to really enjoy this work because I, as a first-generation college student, had a transformative experience as an undergrad. I really it became clear to me what things were important to me, what I wanted to do with my life, and all of that was a product of not only things that I was experiencing inside the classroom, but all of the great ways that I was challenged and the great things that I learned about humans based on my experiences outside the classroom. So that really plays into what our overall vision is for student affairs at Pitt, which is to curate extraordinary experiences for students so that they are able to have a fulfilled life, and everything that they experience at Pitt sort of contributes to that holistic development in that effort. Our values: student-centered, purposeful education, excellence, innovation, and collaboration are pretty intentional. And I'll only talk about two here. One, being student-centered is important to us because it means that as a division, and keep in mind we're 20 plus departments, 250 staff members or more. It really helps to ground us all in this idea that everything that we do starts with what do we need to do for students? How will students receive this? How will students experience this? What do students need? That's really our sort of our North Star in terms of our values. A close second to that is this idea of purposeful education, so that everything that we are doing serves to contribute to the student's growth, contribute to their exposure to new ideas, to new experiences, that in everything that we do, there's an opportunity to educate. So broadly, you should understand that our perspective is that we believe that students are emerging adults and will scaffold their learning and development in ways that help them to sort of transition through their 4 years. We know that who students are when they enter may not be the same person as when they leave. And so it's part of our job to support students, but also to support the support system, which is where our relationship with you and Summer's office and her role comes into play, because you have such an important role in making sure that our students get from their first year to their last year. And we really want to see ourselves as a team with you in working towards that end. So can you advance to the next slide? Oh, great. Um, what we want to, in all of our efforts, do is make sure that we are a place, a big place that hopefully feels small. In our first week here during Welcome Week, I've been at multiple events, and our staff have been at multiple events in the transition to bringing students on board, and they see us. We're a big place, but they see us at so many events, and they see our faces and hear our voices over and over again. So we, part of what we want to do is to make sure that students see us as part of their sort of structure, that sort of scaffold for their experiences here. When we talk about your role in our relationship, we want to make sure that we're trying to support you in moving from a coach experience with your son or daughter to a cheerleading experience. So when we talk about the growth that needs to happen over the 4 years, not only is it for our students, it's also many times for the parent and caregivers as well. My assumption is that many of you are in a role right now where you are standing alongside your son or daughter, problem solving with them, coaching them. And over time, what we'd like to do is to see you move into a cheerleader role where you're encouraging them as they begin to find the answers and the pathways for themselves. We know from our training and experience that that's an important part of students' developmental journey, and we really want to be a part of that. So can you move to the next slide? So with that, I think one of a fun way to begin to think about this is through a first text activity. So you will, I can promise you, receive a text in the first couple of days or couple of weeks of your son or daughter being here. And part of what I think would be fun to interact about is what some of your responses might be. Because this is where the rubber meets the road of how you can begin to support and encourage your student in really helpful ways. So we'll start with this example. You are at home, you've dropped them off, you're gardening, and you get this first text from your son or daughter. There's nothing to eat here. What might be some ways that you would respond to this first text? And then if you can use the Q&A portion, do you
We
want to give
already
more?
have, I was gonna say, we already have a great response. I'm not sure if you have the Q&A pulled up, but Kim says, download the dining app, look at all the places to eat.
Okay, that's great. Are there any other responses?
Not yet, but I know that Maggie from Pitt Eats behind the scenes is probably so excited about that response.
So I think Oh, there's another one.
We do have another one. I love this. This sounds exactly like how I would talk to my children as well. Come on, really? This is not possible. Be creative. I'm sure there's something. We've got what have you tried so far, or where have you looked? And we've got Kara says, we received a great email that outlined all of the eating options. I'll forward it to you again. That's right. Give them that resource. There are so many responses coming in. Kim is back to say she even took screenshots of the eatery specifically to send. And don't forget about your dining dollars to try something else. Oh my gosh. Marlon, these are all expert parents. Like these are
This
amazing
is
responses.
great. Well, because I think that one of the reasons why this first text activity is fun is because the thing that I've seen over the course of my career is that, your son or daughter may be in this place of sort of initial panic. And it's helpful if you don't assume that panic. So when we did this in person, we had a parent say, well, I will, send them money for Uber Eats, or I'll remind them that I put all these snacks, uh, in their dresser before I left. All acceptable options, obviously, and certainly the what we would hope is that there is also some of these type of responses that you all are suggesting, really encouraging students to go back to the resources, ask them who they've talked to. There are, hundreds of people that are here for them. Who's in their building? Who's on their floor? Who did they ask as they are trying to sort of navigate this first concern? Let's go to another first text example. Let's say, again, you're gardening, the begonias look great, and you get that first text, and the first text is, I hate my roommate, you have to come get me. What are some responses you might have to that first text? I hate my roommate, you have to come get me.
We've got lots coming in again. Everyone is getting comfortable this first week. Give it some time, Leslie says. And Megan says, can you reach out to your RA?
Any other thoughts before we move on?
We've got to hang in there. Have you talked to any classmates?
Oh, there's a good one. Are you scrolling down?
And what exactly do you hate? Talk to a counselor. You have to give it more time to get to know them. Throughout life, you'll be interacting with people who may be different. This is a learning experience, so give it time. And I remember some of those feelings too when I was in college. Go take a walk, treat yourself to doing something fun, and get yourself in a different headspace.
I
Talk through
love
your
this.
agreements. We have
Yeah.
lots.
Oh, that's great. Somebody's bringing out the roommate agreement. Two claps for that. Absolutely. So I love this. This is great. This is some great cheerleading examples. I am sure that you can imagine that there's, some parent who would respond to this by, turning the key to their car. That would be their response. Like, yep, I'm on my way. And, we can all identify with that. And there's no wrong answer here. You know your son or daughter, you know what might be best for them. And we certainly want to encourage you to be in the position of cheerleader and really pushing them to think about their own potential solutions, to think about what their resources are, and as many of you pointed out, sort of to be patient with themselves and with others. So I'm so excited that we're all on the same page about some of the ways that you can best encourage and support your students on this really exciting journey. I especially love the idea of the one parent who was ready to share some of their own experiences about going through your college experience. So really, really excited for that. I guess finally, I would say just keep in mind that myself and our team in the Dean of Students office that we're here to be a support for you. So please feel free to reach out. I can be reached at Dean of Students at pitt.edu. And we will continue to work to make this sort of a big place that feels small. So, names, people that you can reach out to when you're, supporting your student on this journey. So I think with that, I'll say thank you for your time, and I'll turn this back over to you, Summer.
Thank you so much, Marlon. Marlon, I have to ask you something. Every time you've done this first text activity, you mentioned that the parents or families at home might be gardening. Marlon, are you a secret gardener? Like, do you like to garden?
No, it's like the exact opposite of what I would do. So I just assume that other people are more normal, and like that's what normal people do, is like garden or do something productive instead of, watching, trashy, reality TV.
I was just wondering where gardening comes. I can't garden at all. I can't keep any plants alive. We do have a question. What is the number that we can use in case we have any concern? We will make sure we get that answered right away. And we're going to transition to our Q&A of expert panelists. Marlon, thank you again. Just need to know about the gardening. That was my burning question I had to have answered. I appreciate it. So if our panelists can join us on camera while I introduce you to who will be on the panel, so you can direct questions to Student Health Services, Residence Life, Pitt Eats, the Pitt Police, University Counseling Center, Panther Central and Housing, Student Involvement, and Financial Aid. You don't need to worry about addressing it to them when you put it in the Q&A. I will make sure that I say what panelist this is going to go to. And let's go ahead and answer our first question. Kathleen, I'm going to throw it to you to provide the Panther Central number, and then the Pitt Police, if you could provide your number, because this question is, what is a number we can use in case we have any concern? And I think there's varying levels of concerns, whether it be a safety concern. I'd love if our Pitt Police would answer that. It does look like Officer Cunningham is typing an answer. But Kathleen, if you want to repeat verbally the Panther Central number for non-safety, non-emergency concerns.
Yeah, for sure. Good afternoon, everybody. You can reach Panther Central at 412-648-1100. And we are here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Someone will answer the phone. And if we don't know the answer, we'll do our best to get you to somebody that can.
Wonderful. Thanks, Kathleen. And there's actually a couple questions for you. So if you want to stay unmuted, I'm going to quickly dive into them. Is there an update on Wi-Fi service at the Hampton Inn?
Yeah, we've had Pitt IT folks down there tabling for students to answer their questions. A lot of students are bringing Alexas to campus, and so getting those hooked up and whatnot, making sure that the gaming Pitt network is up there. So they've been testing everything. They've been down there 12 to 5 all week this week. If your student has an issue, please have them put in a Pitt IT help ticket. But they are down there and monitoring everything at the Hampton.
Thank you. Our next question is about laundry. Do students pay for laundry in the residence halls, or is that included in the housing cost?
They do pay for laundry. It's $1.50 to wash and $1.50 to dry. And they can use an app to do that, or they can use Panther funds as well.
Thank you, Kathleen. I'm going to give you a break from questions. I know we don't write in. The next question, Amanda, I'm going to ask if you can help me a little bit with this one. I will start it. When will the rec center open? Where can first-year students go to work out until it does? The new state-of-the-art rec center will open on September 14th. However, there have been some preview opportunities for our first-year students during Welcome Week, as well as right now they are recruiting student volunteers to help test the systems of the rec center. It's called the warm up, which I think is a really cute name for it, but it is on the rec center's website that students can sign up to volunteer, test out the systems prior to the grand opening on September 14th. And Amanda, if you could assist with where can first year students go to work out until it does?
Absolutely. So a lot of our residence halls do still have fitness facilities in hall. But for our students who live in our quad building, so Bruce Hall, Brackenridge Hall, McCormick Hall, and Nordenberg and Holland Hall as well. They have access to the Towers Fitness facility. So their ID card will work to get them into the Towers Fitness room until the rec center is open.
Thank you, Amanda. I've got another one for you since you're unmuted. I'll try to batch these together. Is there a curfew to get into the residence halls?
There is not. Our residence halls are open. If you have a guest, we do always need our students to sign their guests in and out as well. And there are some parameters around how long number of days that guests can stay in the residence halls. But no, there is no curfew. There is no time your student needs to be into or out of their residence hall.
Thank you. Our next question is for Officer Cunningham and the Pitt Police. In light of what happened at Villanova yesterday, how or what app do parents use to get alerts on any safety events on campus? Do students have an app, and how has that been communicated to them?
Okay, yes. So once enrolled, our students and families can opt in to get this as well as our emergency notification systems, our ENS, as well as our crime alerts. You can find all this information. Let me find that on our website at safety.pitt.edu. We are also, I would say, pretty heavy on social media as well. So if there was anything, any emergency or event, we will put that on our social media outlets, Facebook, Instagram, X. So.
Thank you, Kathleen. A question and maybe some feedback for our housing application. Was wondering why the questionnaire asked about comfort with transgender roommate versus LGBTQIA plus as a larger community. Their student would have wanted that in their roommate matching.
Yeah, we understand. Definitely, we want to make sure that we're being sensitive around gender inclusive housing, right? And the housing questionnaire is pretty long, but I've definitely heard that from a few folks before. Overall, again, it's our expectation that all of our students would treat one another with respect. And so if they have any problems or any issues, please have them reach out to Residence Life. But we're continually looking at that housing application and trying to balance the wanting of it to be efficient and not too long and cumbersome, but also covering all of our bases. So thanks for sharing that for sure.
We've got a question, colleagues. I'm going to leave it up to you. I know that the rec center staff are not on this panel. And I know they're sharing lots of information with our students about the rec center, but a question about this student joined a private gym and is worried about crowding in the rec center. If anyone has additional information about how large the building is and the spaces, and if any other fitness facilities on campus will be opened. And if not, Kara, I will make sure that we get you this answer because I recognize that there's not a rec center staff member on this panel. So if I have any colleagues who feel compelled or have a little bit of additional information about just the sheer size of how large the new building is, if not, Kara, I will be able to follow up with an email.
I can speak a little bit to the facility itself, and I would definitely encourage you to check out reccenter.pitt.edu for updates on the facility itself. It is, I think, 8 floors. I was trying to scroll quickly to see the size of the building, but it's over 250,000 square feet. It is an absolutely incredible, massive facility. Now, here's what I will say. Definitely, as it opens, students may gravitate to the same things. So I would encourage you to encourage your students to maybe try something new in the rec center and to really utilize the entire space. But it is an absolutely massive facility compared to our previous campus rec facilities. So definitely would say that the footprint of the building and the amenities in the building and the things that the building has to offer will not make it feel crowded, especially if, again, we're encouraging our students to try something new. There's rock climbing walls. There's lots of really cool group activities or group fitness activities. And lots of different nooks and places and spaces to try new workouts. So I would definitely encourage that. But again, they can also click around the reccenter.pitt.edu website to get more information about the facility itself.
Thank you so much. And we're also working with the rec center staff during family weekend to be able to give our families a look inside the space and an opportunity to engage in some programs in the space. So hopefully you'll get to see the beautiful building if you're visiting us during family weekend, or if you visit campus at any other time after September 14th to take a look at it. We have a question, Kathleen. Oh, I see you typing an answer, Kathleen, right as I was about. So Kathleen's going to be able to get
I
an
can
answer about.
I can say it out loud just in general. And if other folks see that, we answer about 60,000 phone calls in Panther Central every year, and this is our busiest time. So wait times have been about 7 to 10 minutes this week. So I know that that might feel long, and sometimes they have been longer, but that's been our average this week. If you reach out to us, two ways that I will say in Panther Central. One, when it says chat with us on the screen at pc.pitt.edu, that's a live person that they're chatting with. And so please encourage them, anyone who has an easier question or needs something to chat that way. Or there's a contact form. And again, I know it feels a little like, oh, I'm just filling out this form. Again, we use customer service software called Salesforce. Some of you might know about it. It's a pretty big company. And so everything is ticketed and tracked, right? And somebody will get back to you. So I think specifically for a glitch in terms of a dining application issue, right? Fill out that form and someone will get back to you. We're getting back to folks within about 24 hours at the longest.
Thank you. There is a follow-up question about, can parents put funds on dining dollars and Panther funds? Absolutely. And Kathleen, if you want to provide them with where they can do that.
Yeah, and again, the Dine on Campus, and I won't steal thunder from my dining partners, but there's kind of two ways to go about doing that. So the Dine on Campus website is one way to go about that. Or again, in your students' portal, they can add that. Parents can add it if you have access to it. Either way, and there's a dining dollars, add additional dining dollars here. So we try to make that as easy as possible. If you're not connected to your students' portal account, then you can go through the Dine on Campus site. And I believe that my colleague might have a little more information about that.
Yeah, you can go through Dine on Campus. So that URL is dineoncampus.com/Pitt, and you'll see an opportunity to add dining dollars in certain amounts on the meal membership application sign. If you need that URL, again, it's dineoncampus.com/Pitt. Thanks.
Thank you, Maggie and Kathleen. Officer Cunningham, next question is for you. This question is a specific location. Is Shenley Park safe to walk alone? But could you expand a little bit about walking safety around campus?
Yes, absolutely. Personally, if you're not new to the area, I definitely recommend your student get familiar with the area. And in doing that, use the buddy system. There are some times where I don't like to walk alone, no matter where I go. So definitely, big thing is using common sense and situational awareness. And also, even though I do see a lot of students running, walking by themselves, I always encourage, we all like to listen to music or podcasts or listening to a book, an audiobook. Let's encourage just using one earbud instead of two, so we can still pay attention to our surroundings. As far as Shenley Park, it is part of the Squirrel Hill area, which is, a roughly safe neighborhood. However, depending on when it starts, like the time of the day, think about the lighting. Once it starts getting dark outside, the lighting may not be as good. But just walking in Chilling Park, I've ran through there with no issues. But just make sure that no matter which part of your student is going to in the Pittsburgh area, just familiarize themselves with that area and to do so with a friend.
Thank you so much. Our next question is, who do we contact if we have the legal form to gain access to our student grade, schedule, etc., so we can see this information? I'm not sure if a panelist wants to take this, or I will get us started. If anyone wants to jump in, please do. Once your student is matriculated here at a university, they are protected by a federal law, the Federal Education Rights and Privacy Act, FERPA, because everything has an acronym that we call it or is called in a university space. And so the registrar's office has a FERPA release form that you can discuss with your student and that your student can fill out and provide the registrar's office is not going to accept any outside legal forms, and that FERPA form will allow you to request a transcript, but not necessarily a schedule or any information that's in the student portal. And I'm bringing that up because I see another question that was, I think maybe somebody typed an answer about connecting to the student portal. Parents and families are not able to connect to the student portal. Your student only has access to that. Well, since some questions are for me, I'm just gonna keep answering them as the host. This one is for family weekend. Are there housing options for families or recommendations for accommodation? I've got two answers for that. One, think about expanding your radius beyond Oakland. There's a limited number of hotels and accommodations in direct Oakland. So consider a radius that might be on a bus line if you'd like to take our PRT, or if you have a rental car, or if you're bringing a car, or if you're willing to use a ride share. If you go to the Family Weekend website, and truly the easiest way to get to that is to Google Pitt Family Weekend. First link is going to be to our homepage for Pitt Family Weekend. And on the right-hand side, there's a Family Weekend FAQ, and there's a question about hotel blocks. There are some discounted hotel blocks around that hotels have partnered with us to provide. They are limited, and once they're full, unfortunately, they're full, and we don't have any control over that. The other option that I think parents and families who are visiting should consider is looking at Airbnb. We do have a lot of Pittsburgh-based Airbnbs, and just checking the location to make sure that it's accessible to campus might be a good fit for your family. A little bit more questions in here, and I apologize that we don't have a rec center colleague on the panel. A question about how big the fitness centers and towers are. Seems like a lot of people using for that. You're correct in that that fitness center is designed for that tower, and this is only a temporary solution, but maybe Amanda can talk a little bit more about that space and how quickly it'll transition to students going to the rec center.
Yeah, so I apologize. I was searching for the answer about where to sign up for the warm-up series, so I can also drop that in the Q&A as well. But the Towers Rec Center is designed at first to accommodate, Kathleen's going to be upset with me that I don't know the number of students, but to accommodate students who live in towers A, B, and C already. So it's designed to handle a residential population of nearly 2,000. Kathleen, great, nearly 2,000 students. So it is a large facility. Certainly, there may be some longer wait times, or students may have to, work into spaces where they may have been able to just walk into machines in the past. But I will share that, again, it is, as Summer mentioned, a temporary solution to get us to 2 weeks out into the new rec center. So I would encourage students, one, to know that it exists, and know that towers is certainly an option for students in our quad buildings as well as our towers, to maybe be in spirit of community, to be thoughtful about working in to equipment with their classmates who are looking as well. And then truly, I'm going to find the answer to the question for the folks who want to engage in the warm-up series, and I will drop that to the folks who asked that question in the Q&A as well.
Thanks, Amanda. Next question for Officer Cunningham. They would like to sign up for ENS as a parent. It appears that subscription is only open for students, faculty, and staff. Is there another good way for them to be notified of any safety-related events or issues on campus?
Let me see here. Let me find that, because I do believe that parents were able to sign up for that, and I will find that and put it in this chat.
Thank you. I also know the other option is when your student signs up, and Officer Cunningham, correct me if I'm wrong, that they can provide like an additional number or email address, and they could provide yours as the parent if you tell them to do that.
That is correct. And they can also sign up on how they would want that information received, whether it's via email or text as well.
Thank you. This question, more for Family Weekend. Oh, This is so exciting for me to get questions. Do you have to buy a football ticket for our student for family weekend or only for the family members coming? Great question. The Department of Athletics does offer discounted tickets in the family section for family weekend. If your student has a student ticket already, they would sit in the student section. So the answer is, if you want them to sit with you, yes, you will need to buy them a seat in the discounted section or any section that you choose to sit in. You don't have to buy the discounted tickets if you want to sit in a different section. But yes, if they are not going to use their student ticket and you want them to be able to sit with you, you would need to buy them a ticket in the section where you are sitting. There's a question about driving to family weekend. Will there be parking solutions? So as an urban campus, I promise you every colleague on this panel feels your parking pain, that parking is limited. And so on the family weekend website in the FAQ, you'll be able to find ways that you can reserve a spot in some of our different lots. Those are all, most of those are managed by outside companies or by Park Mobile, and not necessarily by like my office or by student affairs. And so it is something that you definitely want to research prior. We will not be providing any parking permits because we just wouldn't be able to afford it. The budget is not there to be able to pay for lots of parking permits. So I really suggest that you research in advance where you're going to want to park. There are lots of lots that offer discounts that you're able to reserve a spot in, and all of that is on our FAQ page. Other questions in the Q&A? You can keep them coming. Don't forget, we've got Friends and Student Involvement, Counseling Center, Student Health Services, and Financial Aid. Also, they haven't gotten any questions so far. Although Charles might think that's okay. In the in-person panel, lots of questions about student health. So see, some people are typing answers. Thank you, colleagues. I appreciate it. Devon, I'm going to put you on the spot. Student Involvement Fair is this Sunday. What is your top tip when students are like, Mom, Dad, Grandma, should I go to the Student Involvement Fair? It's up at the Pitt. It seems like it's going to be huge. What would you say is a great way to encourage them to really navigate a really busy and exciting space on Sunday?
Thanks, Summer. I appreciate that. The Involvement Fair is an amazing event, right? And it's grown over time. It is a way to connect with over 500 of our student organizations. We have more than 500 here at Pitt. We're about 800. And we split those fairs, our primary one being now, and there's a second one at the semester transition point. So there isn't a rush to the fair experience. There are other opportunities beyond this one. And they're a bit smaller. So if your student is attracted to that fair experience, but maybe not in a facility as large as the Pitt, stay tuned. More opportunities are on the horizon. My tips and suggestions. Well, first it's at the Pitt. And so there's a little bit of an incline. It's called Cardiac Hill. So just dress appropriately, right? Shorts, water bottle, right? There is not a call to commit. It's a call to walk, meet, listen, snag a roommate, a new classmate, a new friend. There's lots of folks who are in recruitment mode for sure, but that shouldn't be a pressure to say yes. In fact, what we've invited our clubs to do this year is through quick portals, quick scans of QR codes, you could just join a contact list. It doesn't commit your student to membership or to the first meeting, but just to know more, to have access to the organization. To think about your interests before you even get there, right? A lot of our information is available online. We've categorized the clubs into 7 or so topical areas, from club sports, academic, politically oriented. So what are you interested in? What have you done before, and what might be new are 3 buckets I encourage folks to think about, and jot something down in each. And then again, it's just a matter of conversational spaces, to listen along, to listen in, to scan a code, to grab a swag bag that's going to be offered to you right when you get there, and there'll be tons to carry away. So if your student hasn't gotten enough swag yet, the journey of collection continues. and then to think about that experience afterwards. Again, it's a collection opportunity. It's a chance to listen and hear and ask questions, but then think about how that lines up with your greater exploration goals. Are there organizations that could complement your academic initiatives? The co-curricular framework is really important to us. And then simply like decompress from the moment. Allow yourself to go into your first week of classes or so, really settle out what that looks like to build a routine before adding other opportunities like clubs to the mix. So it's give yourself an opportunity to think about your interests, but also what could be new for you. It's to know that you're not compelled to join, but simply to listen and learn and to walk through the space, to dress and prepare appropriately for the outside, the hill, and the traveling, and then to give yourself a breather just to explore your first week before you think about adding additional co-curricular elements to your journey. If after that time you want to talk about that with myself, my team, my staff. There are 2 offices. 119 is our student involvement suite. That office offers student involvement specialists. These are students who can sit with you and simply talk through your interest and bring a more conversational experience into that mix. And on the 8th floor is the source that oversees all the clubs. And so if there are more logistical questions, follow-up pieces, questions about Experience Pitt and how you can continue to connect with the organizations, my team on the 8th floor are experts in those areas. Hopefully there's something in there that you can borrow and transmit to your student, and we look forward to seeing them on Sunday and beyond.
Thank you. I knew you would have the best advice. It's very exciting. It is a very exciting time and full of energy, and all of our returning students are just so excited to welcome their new Pitt Panthers. Danny, question for you about counseling and drop-in sessions. How often can a student go in for an appointment per week?
Yeah, great question, Summer. So let me give a little context about our drop-in sessions to situate my answer in. We have drop-in appointments from Monday through Friday, 9 to 4, but we also have sort of services. If your student needs help at any time of day, they can call our number and be connected immediately to a licensed clinician. And so we want to support your student 24 hours a day, the best we can. For our drop-in appointments, typically students use those most to connect with care. And so that can mean looking for a therapist at our counseling center. It can be looking for specialized programming out in the city. Our staff is ready and capable of connecting your student to what best fits their needs. But students can also use those appointments for sort of like one-off single session, like, hey, I'm having this specific problem that I could use some help with, and not really a longer term concern. So to answer that question, if you're coming multiple times a week, we're probably going to be like, hey, let's talk about ways to get you ongoing care, because that's probably what you're needing and looking for. But we don't have any hard sort of like session limits in that sense.
Thank you so much. I think that answered this next question, but I want to make sure that we're being thorough to the questions that are coming in. And so, Danny, since you're unmuted, this one is, my daughter has been undergoing psychotherapy and she now needs to find a qualified professional to continue her sessions while she's on campus. What's the best way to find someone and get her appointment scheduled?
Yeah, absolutely. So most students find that every other week sort of model works for our sort of shorter term center that we have here. And we do have licensed professionals who are social workers, who are professional counselors and psychologists. And so if that seems to fit your student's need, then the counseling center might be the right answer. If it's maybe a little bit more frequency or a little bit more sort of, impacting your student's daily life, then perhaps we look for someone outside in the community that might be a better fit. But totally, a drop-in session with one of our licensed therapists can get that ball rolling and help your student figure out what's the best fit for what they need.
Thank you so much. Kathleen, I'm coming back to you about laundry. This parent would like to know, where do students go to do laundry in the quad?
Well, it depends on what building they're in the quad. So, but there is laundry in every one of our quad buildings, right? So Holland has a laundry room up on the top floor, and then Bruce and McCormick, it's on every floor. So you just need to, it's either on your floor or at the top of the building near the lounge, depending on which quad building you're asking about.
Thank you so much. I think that's also a great question for your student to ask their RA when they see them. It's a quick and easy question they can ask their RA or someone else on their floor that's already done some laundry. This question, I'm going to leave it open to any panel member. Devon, I'm looking at you, but anyone, I think we all have lots of advice for this. What advice do you have to help students adjust if they're feeling homesick and find some of the Welcome Week activities overwhelming?
Yeah, I'll start, but I know that my colleagues all have unique perspectives and insights here. I'd say one is the Welcome Week team has done a fantastic job, I believe, of curating events of varying size and scopes, right? So last night, our Pitt program folks did a simple craft event in our lower lounge, right? Very chill vibes, very low music, right? Very different than launching a drone show, right? So I'd say, like, when we think about Welcome Week, we think about the rah-rah events, but there are a number of events pocketed through this time and into the next 6 weeks that have varied tempos. So think about what you're looking for and recognizing if those kind of like larger mass gathering spaces are not your thing, that there are folks here who are programming for smaller populations, more intimate settings, more slower experiences as well. Another would be, I'm going to plug the RA elements if your students are in residence. We ensure that our RAs know about a range of opportunities to connect, and they're excellent resource ambassadors, right? A third would be to continue to navigate central spaces where folks like myself are simply just out and about, right? So the William Pitt Union, O'Hara, our student centers we're staffed. We're fully staffed in a dynamic set of hours, right? And we ensure that our offices are open. So, whether it's, if it's not going into an event per se, but to connect with an involvement office, staff that work in our cultural organization centers, really just having the conversations allow us to right size experiences and recommendations for you, and we make sure that we are here all days, particularly as we open, specifically for folks who are looking for that kind of more pointed, specific, or thoughtful set of recommendations and opportunities. So those are my 3 places I'd say to start, but I yield to my peers.
I could add a little bit more if that's helpful. Counseling Center certainly is here to support your students who are experiencing homesickness. Like, that is certainly enough. If any student feels like, oh, like that would be wasting resources, or it's not the right place. No, please come to us. We're happy to help navigate that. I'll also do a couple plugs for the Stress Free Zone and the Center for Creativity for some of the more introverted, more low key events and sort of wellness focused things on campus. So the Stress Free Zone has access to all sorts of like biofeedback and yoga and light therapy and things like that are good for folks who kind of want a more calm experience. And the Center for Creativity can fit that niche of folks who are looking for a smaller group crafting experience and maybe feel overwhelmed by, as Devon was saying, these sort of mass events.
The last thing I will add that Devon mentioned was, their resident assistant truly is someone who can help them get connected to those places and spaces. The resident assistants know a little bit about a whole lot of things. So if they reach out to their resident assistant and ask for opportunities to do just that, to maybe find some quieter, smaller, more low-key opportunities, not just during Welcome Week, but during the year as well, the RAs are a great resource to help them get connected in that way as well.
Thank you so much, Maggie. I'm coming to you with a question about a dining plan. But before that, I want to just thank Andy for his feedback in the Q&A. It says, the Welcome Week has been amazing. 3rd child in college, and this was better than either by a mile. Andy, thank you so much for that feedback. I know my colleagues on the screen and all of my colleagues, the entire university comes together to make sure that Arrival and Welcome Week is a really core memory for our families and our students. And I know that my colleagues on the screen are happy, but also very tired by Friday of Welcome Week. And so your feedback means the world to us. And I'll also share it directly with our new student programs team. And also, Andy, congrats to you. 3rd child launched. Great job. Great job. That is awesome. Maggie, this question is, if my student has the unlimited dining plan, does that mean they can visit 3 times a day?
Hi. Yeah. So with the unlimited dining plan, you actually get one swipe every hour into the dining halls. So the eatery is open from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. The perch is open from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. So one swipe every hour. I think that's 16 swipes into the dining halls at the eatery. And then the meal swap is in addition to that. So you get that retail swap in addition to your all you care to eat swipes. Yeah.
Thanks, Maggie. Amanda, I'm pushing this one to you. Not so much a question, but I know that we should be able to get this right sized. It says, I'm not sure if you're aware, but the first year t-shirts that were given out on Monday for convocation didn't make it to many of the students that moved in on Tuesday. They're students in Tower A. No one on the floor was able to get one. Are we able to troubleshoot that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing I would say is connect with your RA or RD and see if it was that there were no shirts available or there were no sizes available. We did have a lot of our smaller sizes go earlier in the week. So there may still be t-shirts available, just perhaps not in the size that you would prefer. So definitely check with the RA or the RD first. If not, I would tell your students to connect with one of our NSAs, our new student ambassadors. They also have access to t-shirts. So if they're at an event one night and they see an NSA might be able to help them as well. But definitely connect with the RA to see if there are still shirts left in the building, maybe just in a size. I have seen quite the fashion show this week with those building t-shirts, cut up, tied up, shoulders, all sorts of things. So there's lots of creative ways to, apparently I'm learning so much, to use a size that might be a bigger size than you're usually used to wearing.
Thank you so much. Michelle, I also see your question, same for the students who moved in early Provost Academy. I'm going to type it in as an answer to you, but if you can email me at parents with an S at pitt.edu, I will make sure that gets to our colleagues and we can make sure that they connect. But wherever they're living, please also follow Amanda's advice of connecting with their RA. Maggie, I'm coming back to you. More food. Where can you use your meal swaps?
So you can use your meal swaps at on-campus dining locations or retail locations. My best advice to you and your student is to look on Dine on Campus for the full list. You can find a full list of every on-campus restaurant that accepts a meal swap. And if you scroll down on that same meal swap page, you'll find a list of all of our meal swap combo deals that are equal that $12 amount. So that's on dineoncampus.com/Pitt.
Thanks, Maggie. This question, I'm not sure if anyone can answer it, but I'm going to throw it out there and we're going to give it a try. Is anyone a Panther Palooza expert? This parent would like to know more details about what activities will be at Panther Palooza Saturday night. Any takers? And if not, I'm going to have you email me and I'm going to get you an expert answer about Panther Palooza.
So technically, we're going to do both things. I will have a more curated list sent to Summer. The Pantherpalooza does fall under my oversight in an involvement area. And it is largely curated in partnership between our new student programs team and our campus programs board. It's students programming for students, so it's not, right? I don't do it, they're doing it. But they've rebuilt it, right? I know there's a whole glow theme, new novelties, new giveaways, and new challenges. So I do know those elements at play, and I did sign the DJ contract. But I will have the team pull together exactly what those are and share them with Summer for distribution. But it is a new program meant to meet the needs of our students as they have evolved, which means I'm maybe the last person to have the details because I'm not cool enough, but we'll have that to you shortly. Thank you for asking.
Thank you. I did drop my email into that response to you as well, so we can get you a double answer. And we are almost up on 1 o'clock. So if you've got any last burning questions, please pop them into the Q&A. But the opportunity for answers never stops at 1 o'clock. I will have some ways that you can contact us in just a few slides as we wrap up. Maggie, I'm coming back to you to explain Panther funds. But before I do, just want to point to my colleagues in case any of their words of affirmation fill your cup. I really appreciate the feedback here about Welcome Week having something for everyone, being long enough that they are getting their son ready to start classes. And Amy, thank you for sharing that you agree with Andy. The programming is fantastic during Welcome Week, lots to choose from. And thank you for sharing that as a parent, you really appreciated the communications that we send out. We're really thankful for you. So thank you for sharing that. Maggie, Panther Funds?
Yeah, I can actually better speak to dining dollars. Kathleen, I don't know if you want to talk further about Panther
Or
Funds.
Kathleen, Panther Funds.
I got it. I got it. Um, Panther Funds is a stored value that you can use for the university. I'm going to be very transparent that it was a lot more popular before Apple Pay and Venmo and some of those conveniences that we all many of us are enjoying. So it's a way for you to kind of say, hey, you need book money? Here's $750 or whatever you need. Go to the bookstore, right? It can be used to supplement, like it can be used at our dining locations, right? But it's not a part of the meal plan. It's just a completely separate loaded value that you could choose to use as a way to supplement your students' spending. And again, you can find more information about it on the Panther Central website if you want some more details.
Thank you so much. This is going to be our last question. Great job, team. We've gotten through 61 questions. Danny, this last one, I believe, is for you. Are there any quiet spaces on campus for my daughter to complete her telehealth therapy?
Yeah, great question. There's no dedicated spaces on campus. However, the feedback I've gotten from a lot of students is that booking sort of study spaces in the library that are pretty soundproof have been like the best sort of middle path for students to find a place to conduct their telehealth therapy. I also will plug that our therapists do telehealth as well as in-person sessions. And so if that's a better fit, then we're more than happy to talk through those as well. Options? I missed a word in there. You got it.
Thank you so much. So that does get us really close to our ending time. I just want to share a few things. This QR code, while only open until this Sunday, August 24th, allows you to submit as many questions as you want and receive a response within 48 hours. But even when this QR code goes away, you may email my office, the Office of Parent and Family Resources, because we are the office for you. Well, we like to say that we support the support system. So as you're busy supporting your Pitt student, we are supporting you. Please email at any time, parents@pitt.edu. I'm actually a staff of one, so you're always going to get a response from me, but I would love to hear from you, love to get any of those questions answered and help as you transition your student here. We are so excited to have them, but we're also really excited to have you as part of the Pitt family. And the last thing, just want to remind you that Family Weekend is October 3rd through the 5th. Registration is now open until Friday, September 12th. Well, I had to remember what that date was. Until Friday, September 12th, registration is open. But always feel free to visit campus at whatever time and date works for you and your student. We love to have you on campus. And sharing one more time, Dean Neighbors' email address if you would like that also, deanofstudents@pitt.edu. To my panelists and colleagues, thank you so much for joining us for this lunch hour together. This recording will be available on the Pitt Student Affairs YouTube channel. Have a wonderful Friday.